And if you don't know, now you know, Ninja. Okay. As y'all gather around, thank y'all for coming and blessing this channel with your presence. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate the growth that we are achieving with y'all's diligence. And I don't ever ask y'all to share the videos. And people always ask me, why don't you ever say to somebody, share the videos? I'm like, why? I mean, people gonna share a video if they really like the video. And because I know that for me, I'm just saying that, I don't be really like, oh man, share my videos. But if you go back through my videos, you gonna see nothing but classics. I called this weeks ago. I called it days ago. I told y'all, what was going down, how you could expect things. Now you're seeing it in print every day. I ain't even really trying to front on y'all like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not even about that. It's like, who's right? Well, yeah, I'm right, but I've been right. So it's not like, for me, it's like, a major deal. You know what I'm saying? It's like, for me, are you coming over here too?
Production, sir.
Oh, production. Okay. Oh, that looks crazy.
That looks better. Oh.
It looks good. It looks good. It looks good. It looks good.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay, so y'all, I'm gonna give me. I give it 5 minutes before I get started. This video gonna be short and sweet. Just know that your favorite, not even your favorite. That's the wrong terminology. I mean, I guess what I'm really trying to reiterate is like illiterate is that there's a lot going on, and if you just listen to people and all they do is tell you all the time, there's a lot going on inside of Iraq. You really need to listen. Blah blah blah. They don't know what's going on inside of Iraq. Tonight we're gonna talk about what's going on inside of Iraq. What's the current standings, what's happening, who the players are, how it affects you, what's going on, and what you need to see going forward, since we've been quarterbacking this like 9,000 the whole time. And we've come up with real explanations based upon real factual articles, both good and bad, but they come out factual. And you guys know the rules, man. We got 71 people. We got 1 minute to go. I need at least 50 likes. Come on now, baby. We ain't trying to do this. I'm gonna do my shout outs real quick. We'll get started. Let's do the shout outs first. I'm gonna let y'all get these 50 likes. There's 33. By the time I'm done with the shout outs, y'all better be at 50 likes. Or I'm gonna give you guys the watered down version of what's happening, and we're gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna do like a 5-minute video, and we're gonna keep going. You want more in depth? Show your appreciation, show like, yeah. It was a lot of effort. It takes hours and hours of research. Not these clowns that they call gurus out there that come on here for 5-6 minutes and be like, well, there's a lot going on. Well, duh, or the quantum physics system. Dude, shut up. Give me something I can use. Give me something I can talk about. Give me something that's going to give me, that's what I'm about to give you if you guys come up with 7 more likes. You got 76 people. You got a couple minutes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the shout outs. Shout out my Fuller, gang, Wanda, gang, Alita, gang, Jerry Parker. What's going on? Wanda, how's it going? Douglas BB, shout out Douglas, man, my boy, man. What's going on from Reno? Melinda Baldwin, D Holla, shout out D Holla, always support, always love. Eugene, shout out Eugene, shout out Douglas. Hot August 9th, I feel you, baby, it's going down. Eugene B, hello everyone, gang. It's gang when you see me. You know it's gang when you see me. You got 3 likes to go, so y'all better get with it. Eric Baker, good evening. Douglas BB, hi Maggie. Fred, what up? Billy Williams, Daniel Johnson, Denise. Shout out Denise and her piggies. Love her piggies. She's a good lady. Love her little piggies. She's got a great little farm. Douglas. Oh, April's in there working out. Robert. Is it time yet, Paul? Yeah, I'm getting to my grizzy. I'm getting to my grind. Bahamas in the house. Shout out all my international players. Shout out Maxwell, my international player from the Himalayas. You know what I'm saying? Comes up, shows up, does what he does. Chef Gang, you know what it is. Bev Chef. Heavy metal chef, best chef on the internet, heavy metal style. Better than me, better than a lot of folks. Y'all need to get with them for your private catering events and stuff going on like that. Alonzo, what's going on? Regina, how you doing, huh? Robert G, Sean Warfield, Douglas, you are, no, I'm not the master. I am the one presenting the information. You guys are the master. I am basically just the humble one presenting the information. Thank you, sir, though. Sam, what's going on? A. Jordan, hello, Mr. B from Cali. Shout out, Cali. Oscar Ardas, hello. Marcus Banks, what up, Marcus? What up, B? Ernest Jones, Doug's Beauty, come on. John, show the fear. Get them likes up. Joe C. Carthon. It's my homie, Polynesian homie, you know what I'm saying, what it is. 56 likes, you know what it is. So we're going to get right to it. So, everybody wants to really kind of understand what's happening with Iraq and what's going on and why is it this way and why isn't it that way, and, you know. What people first have to really understand about Iraq is that Iraq is going through, it's not a civil war. People that are using the word civil war are using it incorrectly. It's not a war of infighting amongst people. It's a war against a faction of Iranian politicians that we're fighting against. When Sadr withdrew his 74 troops, he basically exposed the latter third to show everybody what we were dealing with. These are the people that are stopping what we're trying to do from happening. Now, a lot of people say, you know, B, man, you watered down, baby, you Disney, because, you know, you don't talk like you used to talk. You used to talk real greasy, but, you know, baby, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to really give you guys information without cussing a whole bunch because, you know, I expect everybody to get it like I get it. But if you don't get it like I get it, we're going to slow down, make sure it's good. Now, with that, as we know, listening. Okay, Shanta, good. I hear you, baby. It's my friend. That's my family. Iraq is not going through a civil war. It's not someone's in power. We don't like what they're doing. We're going to overthrow the government, blah, blah, blah. They're going through a revolution. A revolution basically means that we don't like the status quo. We're fighting against it, and we're going to fight all the powers that be. Since the bottom third has been exposed and we know who the Iranian faction is or the Iranian associates are, then at that point now we can actually start the revolution, and therefore that's why I tell people it will be televised. See, we knew, just like we knew with oil, we knew it was going to go below at 0, we knew it was going to go above 100. We've called all these things, just like we called early elections, we called the strife, and we also called the protesters that are going on. But really what has happened, since we know all these things are happening, is where are we going? So, Mr. B, first off and foremost, you have to understand, the UN representative went and visited, if you guys have been looking at the news and looking at diligently like I have, the UN delegate has been, the one from the CIA that everybody loves, has been going from place to place to place and visiting with certain politicians. Now, if you've noticed who she's visited on that politicians list, it has not been Nouri al-Maliki. It has not been some of these other people. But this week, this one fine lady did go visit Amiri, Kazemi, Sadr, Kazemi, Saleh. I didn't find record that she actually met with Halabusi, but I'm sure that she did. You got to understand that all the people that these people that are meeting with the UN, these delegates, they're not meeting with the coordinating framework. You feel me? If they're meeting with the coordinating framework, you and I and everybody else that's in this investment will be scared-ishless. But we're not scared. We know what's coming down because who she's dealt with. Now, we also know that Sadr's come out and his protesters have come out with a set of demands. One of those demands being new and fair elections. Number 2, they rewrite the Constitution, and it's specifically about how the president is dealt with and his delegation, leaving a parliamentary system and going to a presidency system. Therefore, you have no more issues with people trying to pick who's going to be the leader and who's not going to be the leader. Most delegates per 100,000 persons, they're trying to rewrite this, but here's the conundrum that you're in. Now, Dinarians, I don't want to scare you with this, but you're not going to really grasp this on the first time listening to it. So listen to it twice, okay? I'm going to give it to you. Number 1, if you hold early elections and Al-Sadr comes out with 77 seats and the rest of it plays out exactly like it does, there's still a blocking third. Maliki, only a few things are going to happen to the Maliki. One, he's going to drift off into the sunset. No one will hear from him again. Number two, he'll meet his untimely demise, unfortunately, at the hands of the Europeans and other people that have a vested interest inside the European oil market space, that have a vested interest in seeing him removed, not as well being eradicated from the situation, because he is a problem and a puppet for Iran, and therefore so that we don't have Iranian influences going against what's going on in Iraq, which has everything to do with the LNG, which is part of that pipeline. Remember, the Tanzania pipeline that's going to go up and through Turkey is going to carry LNG as well as crude. And look, I'm doing this off the cuff of my head. I ain't got to write it down no more. As well as the sub-Saharan pipeline is going to go from Nigeria up through Middle Africa, up and through. And then, of course, the top one's going to come down. Those three pipelines are expecting, with U.S. subsidy, to basically subsidize all of the... Hey, Joseph, what's going on, nephew? Those pipelines are basically going to subsidize all of the LNG product that's going inside of the European Union. As far as the summer's going, you're seeing record heat. And as far as the winter's going, you're going to see record cold. Now, I'm not going to sit here for 1 second and say, like, to you guys, well, you could have planned for that. No, you couldn't. You can't plan for weather. Weather is weather. You know what I'm saying? Weather is what it is. We knew it was going to be a hot summer because we based here in Texas, where I'm close to the equator. I can look at that stuff. Now, as far as Maliki is concerned, he can do that. His expiration date can be met swiftly unstopped by his political adversaries, or possibly, what you could see is Maliki retires with this new election cycle that's coming up. And everybody knows the perfect election day would actually be October 10th. It would be a year from the date, if they dissolved Parliament and went forward. The perfect date for new elections would be October 10th, the exact same 1 year anniversary since it stopped. Now, with that, with Al-Amiri and Al-Sadr, now Al-Amiri did go to Najib, and he did try to go to Al-Haman to meet with Al-Sadr today, and Al-Sadr told him he didn't want to meet with him. The reason why he did not want to meet with him, he said, dialogue is not really going to help us. Because the problem is this. A, the people you fool with, I don't fool with. Remember, I talk about gurus all the time. I don't fool with these gurus. I don't fool with these gurus. I don't fool with these gurus because I know they're corrupt. Do you feel me? If I fool with a guru and I've given my hand to the I'm not even going to say his name, but the Impes of the world, the Fs of the world, and look what it got me. It got me 0. Because they really didn't follow the plan. I took them a little bit, and they didn't really follow through with it. Those are like your Iranian benefactors. It's like those people, your F-26s and your other people are out there. You don't know if they're that's why don't pray for me. Because I don't know who you pray to. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, don't pray for me. I don't know who you pray to. Now, with that, you have to understand, just like I ran these other infiltrators, such as your impies and your Fs and your F-26s and all these people, blah, 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 they act on the behalf of something, but they're really not for that. They're from a subjugate of their message. And my message is this, and I'm going to say this, and I've said it a million times. All I want to do is see the Iraqi dinar reinstate at a nominal value that's reflective of the ecosystem that Iraq has built. With them purchasing over so many billions in tokens in gold, we can see that they're trying to, brace themselves for the after effect of society because of inflation, but it also tells you they're trying to actually strengthen their currency. Now, on Iraqi news, it is absolutely true that you've heard from some of your favorite gurus that, yes, there is some talk about them doing more towards the currency, adding value to it, and what's going to happen. And they do say on the video that they don't know what the actual value is going to go to. And I agree. It's unknown, unknowable. Do I think that Kazemi in a caretaker government? Because remember, Kazemi's a caretaker government. He wasn't elected, he was appointed. Now, I have a friend that's inside of Iraq that says that the rate will come out before the new government. I disagree with that. The CBI has been steadfast and very consistent in telling you guys, Without stability in the country, we're not going to revalue the currency. We're not going to do anything with it. Now, with that being said, without a CEO, without a finance manager, without an accounting, HR, I don't see the dinar revaluing as quickly as people say. Now, that's not to say to you that I think the dinar is not going to revalue, but they're not going to revalue the currency before they have a seat in government. Early elections are October. You're still on path for this year to see your blessing happen and for everything to go forward with everything being perfection. With Maliki being removed and Amiri joining, that eliminates the bottom militia and that allows for it to be a safe state. So as the new people go through and you start to see you start to see people moving forward as far as ministerial positions as well as that's April, sorry. As well as you're going to start to see people that are non-partial going into positions that can't hurt the government. We will see our blessing. And the CBI has fully said at this point, they're not more than ready. They are ready. Kazemi's already said it. So is there a deal with the CBI and Kazemi? No, because there can't be. The DOJ doesn't talk to the president. The Fed doesn't talk to the president. You think it's the same thing in other places? No, there's no secret deal. However, there's probably some type of underwritten understanding that as soon as things get on a political basis that are more sensical, that make more sense, and people aren't crying and bitching and all that stuff, then we can go forward. And that's all you're waiting on. Now, the other thing that I kindly want to point out to you guys, and I think it's very important to note, if you look at the security forces and who those skirmishes turn out to be with, they're not with the Sadr group, even though security forces had to go in there recently, clear them out of the parliament, make them wait outside to do their sit-in. It was a peaceful protest. It wasn't like something crazy. When you look at the coordination framework, they always label them the tire burners, the people we had to use rubber pellets on, the people that we had to blah, blah, blah. Just like you didn't see Janet visit Nuri al-Maliki, she did visit Mary, but Alawi and some of these other people, understand she didn't visit with them because there was no reason to. They aren't the ones that are in charge of forming the government. And even in a caretaker state, just like it was pointed out to me so eloquently before, this government in a caretaker state has gotten more done for the country of Iraq than the last 30 years these bumbling and stumbling idiots have done the whole time. Yeah, I told y'all a month ago they're going to dissolve Parliament. Parliament's gone. Dude, Parliament, when Sadr removed his 73 MPs from the political system, Parliament should have been dissolved right there. That would have been the best thing for our investment. However, since we've been dragged out all these other months, yeah, Parliament's going to be dissolved because Parliament's useless. Parliament is not a representation of the Iraqi people. Parliament right now, with the coordination framework, is a representation of the Iranian faction. Sup, Danny? Sup, player? Now, I'm going to leave you with a conundrum, and this will be it. This video will be hella short. It's not hella short because there's not a lot of news, but it's hella short because there's not a lot of news. And I still want to do a report, and I think it's very valid. I want you guys to think of two things. Number one, if they hold early elections and they don't ratify the Constitution, and especially the positions of the Prime Minister, the President, and the House Speaker, there's no real reason to hold early elections unless Maliki's removed, retired, or otherwise demised, and blah, blah, blah. However, if you look at it from this point of view, if they try to elect someone, then ratify the Constitution to blah, 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 blah. Once they pick the speaker, not the speaker, but the cabinet and everybody else, you're looking at 30 to 40 days. So the real thing that everybody has to be paying attention to right now is when Janet said, the UN representative, that Sadr and her would not reveal everything that was into their meeting because their meeting was going to be the evidence of the meeting was going to be reported later. I do believe because the actual investigative reporter that did the leaks about Maliki is still in Iraq. He's being guarded by some security forces and some contractors. There's going to be more releases about Maliki coming out. Al-Amiri is going to join Sadr in his quest for the reforms. That's why he wants to. He'll relinquish his position as the Badr commander, and he will join Sadr, and with that you will see the reform packages start to come through after that. But until you see Al-Amiri and Al-Sadr come to some type of agreement where they've spoken and everything's good and it's copacetic, you guys can just hang tight. Now that's not talking months, years, weeks, hours, days. They've already formulated some way to get this to happen. Hence, that's why Halabusi has come out and already said he's in support of early and new elections. And on top of that, Al-Amiri has come out and said he's in support of new elections. Things are going forward. Now, you just have to hold tight. Remember in October, we have some contracting things that are coming up. So I have a stern belief that, yes, I'm very confident things are going to go positive. I'm super confident that what's happening inside of Iraq is positive. If you look at the social economics, who the players are being visited by, they're being visited by Kadimi, Saleh, Sadr, Amiri, people that can actually get something done. People that don't necessarily have anything to do with, they're not visiting with them. That should be completely telling. So when you see news that says, well, the coordinating framework has this worked out, that's framework news. Don't even pay attention to it. If anything comes out about the framework and saying they want to do something with the value of the dinar, all that, that's just rhetoric. Don't pay attention to it. When you see Al-Sadr say we're about to get things done for the citizens and these are the things we're about to get done, then you'll know things are going forward. No more elections, getter. No, there's going to be more elections. There won't be a getter. There will be more elections. There will be more elections, and the revolution is being televised. Cross-border payments have been settled now electronically within borders. So if you go to any port within Iraq, digitally you will be expected to cross-border settlement. Huge, huge, huge development that happened inside of Iraq. Cross-border settlements, especially electronically, are massive. On top of that, with the meetings that are happening and everything else, you guys have a great opportunity through the weekend to see something happen between Al-Amiri and Al-Sadr. It may take a week, it may take a little less, or it may take a little more. But until you see the breakthrough with those two people, the political unrest will happen. They will continue to do the sit-ins, and that's a good thing. We don't want them to take the brakes off of this. We want them to keep this going as long as they can because we want to break the parliament into early elections. Early elections are going to be the thing that are going to get us to the promised land because in getting rid of the Iranian third, especially Maliki, we will have an opportunity to see our blessing not only grow but thrive this year. And that's all in the plans. How much time we got here? I'm going to go 25 minutes. If any of y'all got a question or anything, ask. I'm only doing 30 minutes today. That's all the news is, and that's all it's going to be. But don't they have to But don't they have to have a value they can get the contract rolling? Sammy D, I've already talked about that 3 or 4 videos ago. I already know what the contract values are. I already know all that. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. The contract values can either be validated or they can be not done completely. They'll void their contracts and they'll be left with some type of penalty. That's not the point. I know what the contracts are, but the problem with what you're thinking is you think the contracts, the tail doesn't wag the dog wags the tail. How's the investment doing, bro? Stock exchange was up. It was up a couple points, almost 1 full point. It had been down. It had been closed for a few days. The Iraqi stock exchange is doing well, but until you see foreign investment pour in there, with Iraq linking up with those 19 banks in France, as well as some banks over in the European Union. I'm really expecting for foreign investment to come through there like rolling thunder once they amend the investment law, which I look to them amend immediately as they're amending the law of the presidency to define their roles more so that people have a better understanding of what the president does or the PM does or the House Speaker does. The investment's going exactly as planned, and it will continue to grow, if not split, double split, 5 times as split, because that stock market is in infancy stages and we're at the ground floor. Just take one day at a time. Iraq was from Stone Age today. That's true. Yeah, they're a very young democracy and they're trying to figure it out. So they're going to have some growing pains. It's going to happen. It's going fine. Hey Maggie, good to see you. Can I get 8 more likes and we're going to shut this video off? 8 likes and we're done, baby. Do you think Iraq Dinar will RI like the Kuwait Dinar did? No, it'll be a little bit different, but it'll be very much the same. First of all, the Kuwait Dinar was never taken into sanctions. This one is. Second thing, there was never really, the reinstatement happened and they just turned back online. Iraq has to prove the strategic reserves, and in my opinion, has to be based in the LNG deposits that are in the reservoirs to prove that they can actually back up the money as well as the gold that they've purchased to offset inflation. So yeah, I believe it can happen. Remember, since Iraq isn't like Kuwait and doesn't have 100 million barrels of sweet, pure gold crude sitting somewhere, they have something else as a value that is as much as important as everything else. They've got the 3rd largest gas reserves in storage inside of country. And it's already tapped. They're already shipping barrels over to the Cyan Tunnel over there to Turkey to make sure things happen. That's why they knew they already sold 500 barrels of oils last month, because it was a test market. Let's send over LNG and let's send over crude. Let's see what leaks. Let's see what happens. Now, since you've learned that, you've looked at the Turkey news, you looked at the international news, Turkey's been doing nothing but setting up all these different flow stations and pump mapping and blah, blah, blah. Same thing Iraq. They're mapping the flow stations, how it goes, meters, blah, blah, blah. What that tells me is this. Not only can we tell where it went, we know how much was sent, and now it is a derivative that we can actually count on. Now that we've gotten our cross-border settlements done at the ports, now we know how much we're shipping out. Now we have to settle all of our debts net 5. I think oil is probably net 24 hours, probably daily. And if it's not, it's probably net 30. It probably doesn't go over 30 days per cycle. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of gold. Great. That's great. But until they have a realistic value of their currency and the gold somehow subsidizes that cost, then and only then will you be able to realize why they bought the gold. If not only to offset truly what the inflationary metrics that are going on right now based upon what's happening with Taiwan and Japan, Taiwan and China, because that's probably going to happen next, as well as the ongoing military events that are going on within the Russia, as well as Ukraine. No, Kuwait didn't dissolve their government, Joseph. Saudi Arabia did. Prince Salim did. Not Kuwait. Kuwait's not going to dissolve their government because they're fully functioning and making tons of money. Hey, Mr. B, does the counterfeit marker pins work on the 2014? Bro, I'm not an expert that I can't answer that. I don't want to go to work anymore, Brando. I'm calling in sick Monday. Man, I told someone the other day, if I hear this from Al-Amiri that he's going to join the Sadr group and people didn't go to work and they were actually expecting something to actually happen to the good, then and only then, man, I ain't mad at you. Where's your Kanye t-shirt? I didn't wear it tonight. You're welcome. But Joseph, it was actually Saudi Arabia that disinvolved their parliament because there was nothing but infighting. They wouldn't get nothing done. So the supreme being that actually runs the country came through and said, enough for the charade. You're done. You're outie. The difference between the royal family of Saudi Arabia and Iraq is that Iraq has no royal family to have that kind of basis for someone to give a baseline to. Well, I want to thank you guys. As the news gets better and better, it gets shorter and shorter because it's easier to report on because there's not as much to speculate on. I hope you guys have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. This is my anniversary weekend. My anniversary is tomorrow, so I want to give a special shout out to the First Lady of Dinar, my wife, the special person that I roll with, and Miss BB. I hope you have a fabulous anniversary. We can do this year after year after year, and several years after this, once the dinar is reinstated, so that you and I can have a lot of fun. I love you much. I love the gang much. I want you guys to like, subscribe, share the video, share it with your favorite guru. They're going to report on it in a couple days anyway, so share it. Give me credit, and you know what? Hey, man, y'all, peace, love, happiness. Man, it's a vibe, man. It's a vibe. So, hey, am I worried? No. But I told y'all this weeks ago I wasn't worried. I told you it had to go the way it's going. That's the way it's going. All this about, they're talking about this. We already knew that. Tell me something we don't know so I can report on stuff that we do. Y'all have a fabulous weekend, man. Be blessed, no stress. Backwoods for life. You know what to do. Shout out Rick and Morty. Shout out my wife. Shout out Financial Fridays. Shout out Megan. Shout out Pam. Shout out Baby J. Shout out the crew, man. It's hard to do. You know what I'm saying, baby? Love you guys. Shout out Grill. Shout out T-Rex, Dakota, Corey, all y'all, man. Love y'all, man. Have a blessed weekend.